What is your name and how are you related to the person with the disease?
My name is Mindy Weber, and it's my husband who has dementia.
How did you handle the diagnosis of your husband?
I basically was in denial for the first couple years.
How long has your husband had the disease?
He was diagnosed at 55, he's 57 now, and he was showing signs 2 to 3 years before that, so about 5 years.
What type of community involvement do you do with your husband?
Really the only thing that we do right now is church.
Does your husband succeed in church?
He enjoys it. He sings along. Of course, they put the words up there and stuff, but he sings along with the worship and stuff. I can't say that he remembers the sermons, but he enjoys it while he's there.
What is every day like for you and your husband?
Structured.
How does he manage everyday life?
He uses reminders on his phone, and of course I'm with him and remind him of things as well.
Do you have to help manage his life all the time, or is he able to do that on his own?
He's able to do his basic stuff, like feeding himself and taking medicines and things like that. As far as how to plan a day and focus on, okay, I need to do this, and this, he doesn't really isn't really able to do that. So that's where I come in and remind him of things that need to be done or that he could be doing.
What are some improvements that you have noticed within your husband?
I've noticed that with his medicine, that seems to have slowed things a little bit.
What are some setback moments that have happened in your husband's life?
I would say family trauma have been setbacks for him, and rocks him a little bit. So then he's not. It's harder for him to stay focused on things.
Since the diagnosis, what were your most enjoyable moments with your husband?
I would say trying to be more in the moment with him rather than sitting and trying to focus on the future, spending more time focusing on the moment.
After the diagnosis, what were some of the most difficult moments with your husband?
Seeing him change. Mentally and intellectually, there's things that I used to be able to look to him to do that I'm now having to try to do myself. It's kind of hard because he was like the rock in our family, and so that's kind of changing. So
How has this disease that has taken part of your husband's life affected you emotionally and mentally?
it's a lot, but you just try to focus on God and knowing that there's a purpose in this, and try to enjoy with your family what you can.
What is your name and how are you related to the person with the disease?
My name's Kara Weber, and he's my dad.
How did you handle the diagnosis of your father?
I handled it pretty well. It was unexpected, to say the least.
Did you know anything was wrong with his memory before the diagnosis?
Yes, he would forget who our friends were, forget who other people were, forget our birthdays, but we thought it was just, he was just aging.
What are some improvements that you have noticed in your father?
I would say that the decline of his memory and cognition has plateaued a little bit. It's slowed down. I would say that's an improvement as far as how fast it was declining originally.
What are some setback moments you have noticed with your father?
Well, recently he has forgotten what month it is, kind of who some people are. He's forgotten people's birthdays, just those types of things. A lot of times we have to repeat stuff more than once because he can't remember that he asked the question or that we already answered it.
Out of all the memories with your father, what is your most enjoyable moment with him?
Probably like recently when we've played board games or gone bowling with him, just because that's where he's happiest.
Since the diagnosis, what were some difficult moments that you have noticed with your father?
Him struggle to admit that he is declining, or him coming to terms with the decline and with the illness. I think it's difficult for him to accept that he needs help and that he can't do certain things.
What are some of your favorite activities to do all together as a family with your father?
We like to go to the rec center here and do bowling, or he likes to do laser tag with us too. He really enjoys board games as well and likes to go golfing with us.
How important is it to you to spend time with your father?
Really important, honestly, because we just never know how fast he's going to decline or when he's going to forget who we are, forget how to do things, just those sorts of things.
What are some things that you both like to do together?
I just like to do what he likes to do, so bowling. He likes sports in general, so we plan to go see hockey games. He likes to come over and hang out with the dog with me, just spending time with him.
How has this disease that has taken part of your father affected you emotionally and mentally?
It's pretty draining, honestly, having to constantly remind him what he asked us, what the answer was, and try not to get frustrated with him, and also helping our mom deal with the illness because she's struggling with it as well, and having to go to doctor's appointments, setting time aside to talk to him, to figure things out, to answer my mom's questions, just those kinds of things.
What is your name and what type of dementia were you diagnosed with?
My name is Kevin Weber, and I was diagnosed with early-onset dementia.
How did you handle the diagnosis of early onset dementia?
I did not handle it very well. The diagnosis changed my life, and I experienced a lot of anger and sadness.
What are some of your most enjoyable moments in your life?
I loved working at the jobs I had for many years and being active in activities that I participated in.
What are some of your most enjoyable moments with your family members?
I love spending time with my wife and kids and doing activities with my family. I also loved spending time with our mini pig and Chester, our dog, and Delilah.
What do you think is the most difficult part of having the disease for you?
I'm not able to do the things I used to be able to do, as in working and remembering things like I used to.
What are some family activities that you enjoy participating in?
I love bowling and playing card games with my family. Um, and I love to teach my daughter any type of sport like golf, softball, and basketball.
What are some activities that you personally love to do?
I love to golf, teach or coach my daughters in sports, watch hockey games, ice skating, and watching my daughter Hannah play on traveling softball.
How important is family to you?
I definitely feel more connected to my family because they are extremely supportive to, and all of us live in the moment and enjoy life. My family means everything to me.
What are some community services or involvement in the community that you are currently participating in?
I volunteer at the homeless shelter. I enjoy going to church on Sundays, and I am a part of a group called Men in Actions.
How do you handle your everyday life?
I get up every day and be positive every day. It is all one step at a time for me.
What do you do to keep yourself focused on the positives rather than the negatives in life?
I always try to be positive and don't focus on negative. I know that I cannot change anything, so I just keep moving on.
How has this disease affected you emotionally and mentally?
It has affected me extremely. My memory comes and goes on me often, and I have my good days and I have my bad days.
What is your name and how are you related to the person with the disease?
My name is Hannah Weber, and the person is my father.
How do you handle the diagnosis of your father?
I handled it very bad in the beginning, but lately I've been able to handle it pretty well because I'm more aware of it.
Did you know anything was wrong with his memory before the diagnosis?
Yes, I did.
What were the signs that you were aware of?
His memory would go a little bit with saying the same stuff within like minutes. He'll ask the same things. That was a pretty big sign, and his memory was just going pretty quickly. Like, couldn't remember people he used to spend a lot of time with in his life and stuff. So that was kind of a sign for us that his memory was going.
What are some improvements that you have noticed in your father?
Some improvements that I've noticed is his memory has slowed down a little bit, like the loss of it with him being on medicine and him getting the proper diagnosis. So that was some improvements. Just his memory's not going as fast, so he's a lot more like easier to talk to because he's not repeating the same things as much, and his memory hasn't fully like gone as fast as it would if he wasn't on medicine. So I would say those are some improvements.
What are some setback moments you have noticed within your father?
Some setback moments have been he gets very hard on himself because he thinks the disease is his fault, but it's not. So he has a lot of anger and a lot of embarrassment, so he doesn't like to leave the house a lot or be around a lot of people that he knows. So that's pretty hard, I would say, and some pretty much setbacks of his disease.
Out of all your memories with your father, what is the most enjoyable memory with him?
I would say when he was my coach for softball, when I would do travel softball, when I would do softball in Belleville, and our traveling team Kaboom when we were little. So I would say when he was coaching me in sports were very enjoyable for me.
Since the diagnosis, what were some difficult moments that you noticed with your father?
Some difficult moments is definitely the back to the setbacks. It would be him being hard on himself and thinking the disease is his fault. I think it's very hard for him to see his memory go because he's aware that he has the disease. So when he asks the same things or can't remember something, he gets very hard on himself and very emotional. He has been very emotional lately with his memory, and I would say his embarrassment. He thinks it's very embarrassing to have the disease at his young age and trying to talk to people and people not understanding what's going on. So I would say those are some pretty hard times.
What are some of your favorite activities to do all together as a family with your father?
I would say hockey games are pretty fun here in Kearney. He loves going and watching hockey games. We like to go to the Big Apple here in Kearney as well. There's bowling, go-karts, all that stuff, and he loves anything sport related, so teaching Kara and I how to golf, how to play basketball, how to play softball, anything sport related we like to do as a family and just be involved with each other and go have fun. So the Big Apple is very big for us, and he's very big with hockey, like I said in the beginning, so hockey games are very, very fun for us to go watch because it's just, we're all happy and enjoyable and fun to be around, and he has always enjoyed hockey since he was little, so going to do those games together as a family is very important for him, so it's all pretty fun to do as a family.
How has this disease that has taken a part of your father affected you emotionally and mentally?
It has affected me a lot. He is still very, very young, so handling it is very, very hard. I'm losing my father every day, so it's been very, very hard on me emotionally and mentally. I haven't had the time a lot to handle my emotions with it because I want to be there with him and spend as much time with him as I can, so I'm pretty positive for the most part, but it definitely does take a toll on me emotionally and mentally every day.
How important is it to you to spend time with your father?
It is very, very important for me to spend time with my father because I don't know when things are going to get worse, when the turning time is going to come for him. So spending as much time with him as I can and as possible is very, very important for me and for him.
What are some things that you both like to do together?
Anything sport related. We're very big sports people. I have always been like that since I was little. He's always been like that, so I definitely take after him with that type of stuff. So any activity like that. We do like to go eat out together as well, have father-daughter time, going to eat, talking, and just having good conversations and being there for each other and just having fun. We do sometimes play card games, which goes into family time, but we do play card games a lot and a lot of Wii and Xbox games, so anything like that, keeping us active and keeping us happy and talking is very, very important to both of us.
Why did you decide to use the topic of dementia and Alzheimer's disease for your project?
I decided to use it for my project because I wanted to support my dad through him having the disease and being there for him, and I think it's very important for him and for me because I would like to spread the word about it and just be supportive towards him.
Other than your father, what is another reason you chose this topic, and why is it important to understand and learn about it?
I chose it because I think it is a lot more common than what people think, and I feel as somebody that is new to handling the disease as a family member, I think it's very important for family members to be there for their loved ones and understanding what the disease is and how it works. And I think there should be a lot more support out there for people who go through the disease, and I think it's a very big topic that not a lot of people hit on or not a lot of people really know. So I think having the ability to use my father and being able to use like my knowledge on the disease now, to help support other people is very important to me.